this partnership with NXT, with WWE and TNA, is officially dead. That partnership is dead. This is a straight burial of TNA. And we can talk about it. We can get right into it. We can talk about the Masha Slamovic versus JC Jane match. I made a short about this. So on the graphic, you promote, okay, JC Jane, she's gonna be with Fatal Influence. We know that Fallon Henley and Jasmine Nix gonna come out with her. And then you put Lei Ching Lee and Zara Brookside on the graphic, who've been helping her in the past few weeks to deal with Fatal Influence. But you put them on the graphic and they don't even show up during the match. They don't show up. They showed up during the match towards the end of it, but they don't come out there at the beginning to limit all the distractions that they caused throughout the match, because Fatal Influence got involved multiple times within the match. Jasmine Nix, Fallon Henley, they continuously interfered even after Jasmine Nix got decked by Masha. So it's like then after they interfered four times, that's when the Zara Brookside and Lei Ching Lee, that's when they figured it was convenient for us to come out now. And then that's also could be convenient for a ref to take a bump. So JC Jane goes for a super kick, Masha moves out the way, and the ref is just ironically behind her. Wasn't no reason for the ref to be behind Masha at that point in the match. So then Masha, she get like a 5 count. A new ref come out there as a male, and then he count 1, 2. JC Jane kicks out. And then JC Jane, she ended up hitting her finisher, and she won. She hit I forgot the name of the finisher, but she won. And then Masha was already up 2-0 against JC Jane. She won a singles match a few months ago against her. Then she just won a tag team match and pinned her in the match. So it's like she already up 2-0 on JC Jane. So it's like it's a double title match. But I don't get why NXT had to lose this. I don't get why NXT Star had to win once again. This would have been the perfect time to show that there is balance and show that you actually care about this partnership on WWE's end, and by letting TNA get the win here. Masha should have won this match. She's been having a great year, looked dominant as champion, and now she loses to JC Jane just straight up. It's not because the interference they ended up being isolated. The Fatal Influence was isolated at the end of the match, so it takes one finisher just to, using one finisher is fine, but JC Jane beating Masha Slamovic, it don't make sense for her to become double champion at the moment. And then the number one contender is Ash by Elegance, who had a story with Masha already. So you built the story with them just to give JC Jane both titles. JC Jane doesn't have a story in NXT right now. Blake Monroe is going to go into a feud with Jordan Grace. There's no direction at the moment until that feud is finished. She's just going to be doing filler stuff till then. She's still going to be NXT champion until Blake Monroe and Jordan Grace feud is done, because it's probably going to end at Heat Wave. That's probably the payoff. Then Blake Monroe will get a title shot after that. So you could have gave it to Masha, who has a story already in TNA, and you could have built stories of her being an outsider as the champion, facing other people. And some of the NXT people could have been rocking with her, like Soul Rook and Zarya. They was just rocking with her this past week. They said they wanted her to win, and so they don't even get involved in the match, which they didn't have to, because it wouldn't have mattered apparently. But it's like this the Rolling Encore, which I don't. There was JC Jane's finishing move. I had to look at my notes, but like it's a solid match. But the way that it was booked was really stupid, and I don't understand the decision to get a belt to. I don't understand the decision. And then TNA, they're able to get wins in non-title matches, but they can't win title matches. Like the match with Dark State and taking on the System and Matt Cardona. First off, Dark State is done. This group is officially over. They can't even get a win on the other promotion. They can't even. They won. They pinned the tag team champions and didn't even get a title shot on NXT. They pinned Hank and Tank and didn't get a title shot the following week. This team is officially done. They went over to. They did some stuff with TNA, and this was actually a solid match. Alyssa Edwards is hilarious because her yelling they're cheating. It's hilarious knowing that she's with the system and that's all that they do. But the Dark State displayed some great teamwork. Brian Myers was isolated for a little bit, but he was able to tag in his former tag team partner in Matt Cardona, who went for the radio silence, and it was reversed the first time. He eventually was able to hit it later. It was the sequence where the System and Matt Cardona did a power bomb, double team power bomb, an elbow drop, then a leg drop, but Dark State was able to save the matchup, and Sugars was taking a lot of damage. Shaquan Sugar still ended up taking the pin, but he looked strong in the match with him taking all the punishment and enduring most of the pain in that match, because then It was a radio silence from Matt Cardona and a Boston knee party from Eddie Edwards to seal the match and pin. Eddie Edwards would pin Shaquan Sugars, so the System and Matt Cardona would end up getting the win here. This was a good match, but it's like they can win non-title matches, titles that really have no importance to them, but they can't beat WWE. What sense does that make? Then I know I'm all over the place, but I really want to focus on this partnership, because let's talk about the main event, because I'm covering the most important stuff, and first I can check stuff off too once I talk about it, but I'm talking about the most important stuff first that deals with this partnership. Trick Williams, the main event. Now, Trick Williams' entrance was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. So shout out to Trick, defending the TNA World Title versus Mike Santana versus Joe Hendry, a triple threat match. Frankie Kazarian did pin Joe Hendry, so I don't see why it wasn't a fatal four-way and why he wasn't involved. But he got involved, and even though he's a heel, him not wanting the TNA wrestler to get the title back is really stupid. I think they're booking that really weird. Like, I know that he got his beef with Joe Hendry, but he should want to see the title back in TNA, heel or face. Like, even Nick Nemeth, who's a heel, he wants to see the title back in TNA. I don't get why Frankie wouldn't want to see it back in TNA unless he just want to go work with WWE. That's really weird. But this match I felt like Mike Santana and Joe Hendry was too focused on just trying to take out Trick and not really focused on trying to take out each other. Because I feel like if they would have just focused on, oh, I want to win, I just want to win this match, instead of, oh, let's take out Trick Williams because he's just outside of that invaded. Like, I think it was too predicated on that, but it was still a solid match. The Frankie Kazarian thing, like I said, the shenanigans was weird in it. The way it ended was really smart, with the doctors checking on Trick Williams and then him letting Mike Santana and Joe Hendry fight it out, assuming that he was hurt. Then Mike Santana hit two STBs, and then Trick Williams miraculously healed threw what's his name out the ring, threw Mike Santana out the ring, pinned Joe Hendry to retain the world title. But it's like, so JC Jane wins and Trick Williams still keeps the title. So that's kind of egregious. That don't make sense to me. So they can win non-title matches, but when the titles are on the line, that's when the losses start coming in. They can't win those matches for whatever reason. I need that to be explained, because even though, and they're losing to NXT, this is WWE's quote-unquote developmental brand. This isn't the main roster. TNA is not developmental. Jordynne Grace should not be in NXT right now. She should be on the main roster. That's where Jordynne Grace should be at. Jordynne Grace is way more talented than being in NXT, and she's better than a lot of the women there. The only woman that probably got a case over Jordynne Grace as a wrestler is Blake Monroe, aka Mariah May, the work that she did in AEW. But aside from that, it's not many women touching Jordynne Grace in NXT right now. It's some on the main roster that's not even touching Jordynne Grace. So you can't convince me that TNA is the same level as NXT. It was working at first, but it's getting out of hand now. And then the pre-show, you put the women's knockouts, put the knockouts tag titles on the pre-show with the Inspiration and the Elegance brand. So you telling me this match is on the pre-show, but Dark State has a main card match? They don't move Mustafa Ali and Cedric Alexander, a rematch from 7 years ago. It's the show opener. But the Inspiration and the Elegance brand for the women's tag team titles is on the pre-show. A championship match on the pre-show. What are we doing here? And was the match good? No, I was mad about how the match played out, because the Inspiration dominated that match for a good portion of it. They looked really great in that match. Maggie Lee got involved a few times. The personal concierge had involvement. Then the Elegance brand just retained. Like, they barely got any offense in. If the Elegance brand would have at least got a little bit more offense in, I would have been fine with it. I still would have hated the way that it was booked, but I would have felt a little better about it. Like, oh, they got a little bit more offense in than what they did. But it's like they didn't get enough offense in my opinion, for them to win that match. So they retained. Ash hit a really bad spear at the end of it. So I'm like, even though I didn't like the match, it's still egregious that this was the only championship match on the pre-show. But you had two non-title matches, 3 non-title matches on the show. Indy Hartwell and Tessa Blanchard is more important than the Knockouts tag titles? That's what you're telling me? Okay. That's that's what you're telling me by doing that. So that really doesn't make sense. Trying to see what else. What else? Oh, Moose and Leon Slater. This was a great match. This I enjoyed this. I had fun with this match. Moose hit the go to hell power bomb immediately. I was like, it's no way it's ending right here. This can't be a squash match because I was definitely going to crash out if that was the case. But Leon Slater kicked out at two. Leon Slater had unlimited reversals. Like it's 2K25. I don't know what Leon Slater was on, but he had hella reversals in the counters throughout the match, especially in the early parts of it. He hit a big play Slater to wipe out Moose, and then Moose, he Leon Slater clothesline Moose. I was very surprised by, because there was a few times where Leon tried to pick Moose up and he wasn't able to do it, but then he ended up hitting that clothesline. I was like, wow. So that really turned the tides in this match. Then Moose, he speared the shit out of Leon Slater. I was like, oh my goodness. I ain't never seen somebody take a spear that bad. But Leon Slater would deliver a spear of his own, not too soon after. And then he had hit two swanton bombs. Well, he hit the cold red on the outside of the ring, then two swanton bombs on the inside of the ring. And he'd get the 1, 2, 3 to become the youngest ever TNA X Division champion, also the youngest TNA champion in general. So shout out to Leon Slater. Then AJ Styles came out there and proclaimed Leon Slater as the future of pro wrestling, which I like, but I don't like that AJ Styles didn't come out after the main event featuring Trick Williams. That didn't make sense to me. Why would you not come out there after the main event? That when Trick Williams was the one that called you out, like him, he was known as a star in TNA World Title, Tag Title, X Division. Like, so it makes sense. Like, I don't have a problem with him coming out there to give Leon Slater his respect. That was a good segment, but I don't understand why he didn't also come out during the main event. He could have made 2 appearances. He's not limited to being there one time. Like, the show went off at 10:19. You probably could have went off at, and it's on TNA Plus. You got, or if you're watching it in a different way, I mean, it's not like they got a time limit. You probably, and I don't know if anything else will be going on in the arena at 10:30 at night. So you could have added the extra 5 minutes for him to say something, or even just stare down Trick Williams. So I don't know if they're gonna do anything with that on Impact or what, but yeah. Zillify 2, I seen him wrestle for the first time with the team Fourth Rope of Real One, aka Enzo, and teaming up with Josh Bishop and Zillify 2 to take on Team TNA, Steve Macklin, Mance Warner, and Jake something. I'm calling him Enzo. Real One is a stupid name, but Enzo cut a really good promo before the match, and then I just think the match didn't have enough time. I think it was a solid match. Team Fourth Rope ended up getting the win. Enzo pinned Jake something. I kind of wish Zilla got the pin, but the few moves that he did hit looked good. So I'm rocking with Zilla. I think he had a solid showing for the limited time they had in a 6-man tag team match. So if there is a way for me to watch Fourth Rope, I'm gonna definitely check that out. Really to see what Zillify 2 and Enzo got going on, because Enzo is one of the most charismatic wrestlers in the business, and he always has been. I don't think. So, I mean, people might disagree with that, but that's my opinion. He's one of the most charismatic wrestlers in the business. So, I rock with Enzo, but Team Fourth Rope ended up getting the win, which I figured TNA, they'd let the smaller company go over. Like, it's West Side Gun's company. He been doing stuff. You know, West Side Gun tapped in with the wrestling business, so I ain't mind that at all. And then really to wrap up the pre-show matches, because it was a random one with Eric Young and the Hometown Man. I like where this story is going, but they could have saved this for Impact though, because this is what hurt the time, because it was already 2 matches announced for the pre-show with Team TNA taking on Team Fourth Rope and the Inspiration taking on the Elegance brand. Eric Young could have did the segment and called out the Hometown Man, and he could have made an excuse of like he was sick or something, so you could push the match back to Impact. I think throwing it in here in just really a 40-minute time frame, because those first 10 minutes, yeah, them 45-minute time frame, because the first 15 minutes was the panel talking on the pre-show, previewing the matches. So I don't think you really only had enough time for 2 matches. If you used that whole hour, you could have fit all 3 in. But the pre-show, you gotta have people talk and preview the show. You can't just have a pre-show and go oh, match. Like, you gotta have people previewing the show. That's what the pre-show is for. So I think they should stick to 2 pre-show matches and not do 3 again, because I think that hurt them on like a time crunch thing, and the hometown men didn't end up getting a win. So that's cool. And let's talk. Match I want to talk about next: Mustafa Ali versus Cedric Alexander. This was a really good match, one of the worst endings possible. It was WrestleMania 34 rematch. Cedric Alexander won at WrestleMania 34 for the Cruiserweight title, if I'm not mistaken. But Cedric, he delivered a couple of German suplexes to start the match. Like, that's how it got started. Ali botched a dive really badly. Luckily, he was able to continue the match. Hopefully, he ain't suffered no serious injury, because there was a bad botch. But Alexander hit the Mikinochu driver off the top rope onto the secret service of Mustafa Ali's. Then Ali hit a super kick, and then he landed and then Cedric flipped him over, and he landed on the diamond plate on the steel steps. Jason Hodge got involved. I'm pretty sure John Skyler got involved. The Grey Hands were involved a few times. Tasha Steelz was even involved, to the point where the ref had to eject Tasha Steelz from ringside. And then later in the match, she would come back, and the ref saw her come back with a chair. Cedric hit the lumbar check. Mustafa Ali hit the 450 slash to pin him and get the win. Mustafa Ali should have won. That was the right decision. But the way that they did it was stupid, because that should be a disqualification. If you get ejected from ringside and come back to the ring, that should be a disqualification, and Cedric should have got the win, because that's not legal. That is supposed to be a disqualification. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the ref clearly saw Tasha come back in the ring with a chair and didn't do anything. You can't eject her again. You just have to call for a DQ, and Ali loses the match because Tasha Steelz was being dumb. But no, Ali just gets a cheap win. That's stupid. They definitely got to run this back and get a definitive winner. This is not a definitive win for Ali. He needs something definitive. I do not like how he won this match. Tessa Blanchard versus Indy Hartwell. This was the best match on the card, in my opinion. Easily the best match on the card. Indy Hartwell, she had a strong start to the match. She was dominating Tessa Blanchard early on, but Tessa Blanchard, being as smart as she is, knowing that Indy Hartwell had strong legs, she was able to take those legs out of the equation. She attacked the leg, she damaged the knee, and it made it harder for Indy to use her powerful legs to her advantage. That's one of her strengths. Even with her being skinny, her using her legs is one of her strengths. So Tessa Blanchard was able to limit that. Tessa Blanchard had a tiger drop. I don't think that was a tiger driver. It was more of a tiger bomb. But she hit that, and that wasn't even enough to do it. She hit the Magnum. Indy Hartwell was still able to kick out of that. Indy Hartwell, she was able to kick out of anything in this match, and she looked great. And then she hit Indy finally hits the Hurts Donut for a second time to get the win. And then she had an interview with Gia Miller right after the match. And Tessa Blanchard cut that off, attacking Indy Hartwell. And then Gia Miller, she was pissed because Tessa Blanchard been putting her through it since really all year, but especially this feud with Indy Hartwell. So she tried to break it up, tried to stop it. Then she attacked Gia Miller. Victoria Crawford got involved, and then Santana, he had talked to them backstage, suspended Indy Hartwell. So where Victoria Crawford goes from here, I'm not sure, because I don't know where her direction is. Where Gia Miller and Indy goes, this probably leads to a tag team match. Maybe Indy Hartwell trains her to become a wrestler. I don't know what experience she got as a wrestler, Gia Miller. Just being honest, I don't know what experience she got as a wrestler. And then the only match I ain't talked about was, like I said, that was the best match of the night, in my opinion. The only match I didn't talk about was the ladder match, the 4-team ladder match with the Nemos, Hardy Boys, First Class, and Rascals. This was a fun match, probably the second best match of the night. Trey Miguel was out, so he's out with a hernia injury, so Myron Reed replaced him. A solid match. First Class, they controlled the match early on. It was really it was a ladder that crashed onto AJ Francis at one point in the match. Myron Reed hit a springboard cutter to Ryan Nemeth, which was really impressive. I don't know much about Myron Reed, so That was a cool move to see him do. Both of the Hardy Boys climbed the ladder, which really confused me because you only need to retrieve one title, and the other one should have been on the lookout in case somebody tried to come near the ladder. So I didn't get both of them climbing the ladder. But that's just a small, like, it was, aside from that, it wasn't nothing too much. Hopefully AJ Francis is all right because that bump he took because he went straight into the ladder. He didn't, Casey Navarro failed. Casey Navarro protected himself where he was able to fall onto the ladder. But AJ Francis, his legs went right onto it, like in between it. So that was really weird. But I think he was fine. Jeff did a swanton bomb to the Rascals on the ladder twice. I think it was supposed to break, which is why he did it the second time. But I don't think he needed to do it a second time. I mean, it still went good. Nothing went bad. But I just think that was kind of unnecessary because something could have went bad. But all the ladders were broken, and the most supernatural thing ever happened. Jeff Hardy imagined a ladder, and it just appeared. I was like, whoa, what is this? You can just imagine a ladder, and it appears? I ain't never seen nothing like that before. So then it came down to the Hardys and the Nimmo brothers fighting for the tag titles, trying to climb the magical ladder that appeared from who knows where. But the Hardys was able to take out the Nimmer brothers, climb the ladders, retrieve the titles, become 4-time TNA Tag Team Champions. Then Bully Ray came out there. To sum that up, October 12th is Bound for Glory. The Hardy Boys vs. Team 3D will take place for the last time ever. So that's cool with me. I don't got a problem with it. Nostalgia this, nostalgia that. Hey, it's last time ever, so no complaints from me. But leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, comment what y'all thought of Slammiversary tonight or last night whenever you're seeing this. I'll give it a smooth 7 out of 10. Let me know what y'all think.